Hello, welcome back to WBTV. Today is Friday, October 13th. Oh, Friday the 13th in October. My name's Wade.
My name's Blake.
And today is part 2 of our Xbox versus PlayStation series. Okay, so for those of you who didn't watch the first video, watch this video first and then watch the second video. There's not really an exact order. Actually, I would encourage you to watch the first video first because you just make more sense. Because we're going to give you the final score at the end of this video, and we'll see which is better, Xbox or PlayStation. So, if you didn't watch the last video, the 4 categories are appearance, hardware, exclusives, and controller. We kind of agreed that those were the 4 categories that we think, and but we might add an extra wild category in at the end of this video that I haven't even told Blake yet, that I just thought of, so we'll surprise him. Surprise him.
Yep, we'll surprise
with that. So, without further ado, let's get into the first category.
Okay, so appearance. The Xbox does look kind of awkward. How it's a giant brick, a giant
VCR.
box, a giant VCR. But they make it look a little more better with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. So I'm not going to completely trash it for its appearance. But the original Xbox One, in my opinion, doesn't look the greatest. It's a giant brick, it's heavy, it's annoying to place around, it doesn't fit very well in spaces, so. But with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, it looks way more portable and smaller, more compact, so. And then it has a USB port on the side, it has the disc and the power button on the front, or the disc port, sorry. And then on the back, there's 2 HDMI cables, 2 USB cables, the power cable, a couple other power cables for headphones, headphone jacks, and stuff like that to plug in your headphone charger, controller charger, stuff like that on the back. So, comparing it to PlayStation, I think it's fairly similar, just in the ports and stuff, but PlayStation definitely makes their console look better than the giant brick Xbox has. So I'm gonna have to give Xbox a 3 on appearance.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much agree almost with everything that Blake said. The power brick, it's not necessary. It's 10 times larger than the PS4, but it has this massive power brick, which to me doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's the original Xbox is kind of ugly. The Xbox One X almost looks the same. They seem to like this kind of cubular design to them all. But I would have to agree with Blake, and I'll give it a 3. So that's a 6 out of 10 for appearance. On to the next category, which is hardware.
Yep.
Hey guys, Wade here. Again, I'm sorry that we didn't have the actual hardware facts. So this is from IGN. These are the actual hardware facts. I just opened them up on my computer. There are some more facts. If you would like to figure out the rest of the facts, you can just go to xbox.com. I'm pretty sure they have all the specs on there. Actually, they didn't, which is an interesting thing, which PlayStation had it on their website, but Xbox didn't have it on their website, which doesn't really make much sense. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you'd like to come back and see the actual specs, just come back to this video. And yeah, back to me and Blake talking about Xbox versus PlayStation.
So, starting off with hardware, I think Xbox and PlayStation, the originals, are pretty matched in their hardware and are pretty good. Okay, so the Xbox One, you can get 500 gigabytes, and if you get it for a deal or a better version of it, you can get it for 1 terabyte. PlayStation, you can get 500 gigabytes, of course, and it clocks 2.1 gigahertz, but don't quote me on that. Has a good graphics card, has a good motherboard, and on the top as well, it has this giant ventilation system, so you don't have to worry about it heating up or overheating or anything melting in the internal of the Xbox One, as it was happening with the Xbox 360 in the Red Ring of Death. They fixed that problem with the Xbox One, luckily. And yeah, so I think it's good, but PlayStation has it a little bit better for the original. But then with the PlayStation Slim and PlayStation Pro and the Xbox One S, I think definitely they're pretty equal still, and Xbox is a little bit better in that. But then finally, with them coming out with the Xbox One X and how it's 43% more powerful, not than just the original PlayStation, than PlayStation's extension, the PlayStation Pro. So it's 43% more powerful than that. So it runs in full HDR, which means the graphics are so much better. It's way more powerful. Its download speed is much quicker than any of the previous consoles, and so I think it's much more powerful than any of the PlayStations or any of the Xboxes, and a beast of a console. So I'm definitely going to have to give Xbox a 5 for hardware on this.
I'm going to probably have to disagree with that, because personally, I think they kind of dropped the ball with their hardware for the first two. They, for some reason, picked they're almost matched the same, but they picked like a slightly slower processor than PlayStation, which I think they should have upped the processor, and then and then they could have beat them, but they didn't for some reason. That massive stays cool, but that massive ventilation system doesn't have the best appearance in mine, and it does blow at you, like the fan blows up, so that could, the PlayStation vents out in the back and in the sides, so you'll never feel like the heat when you walk up to it, but that one you'll probably feel the heat because it blows towards you. With the Xbox X, Xbox One X, I understand the idea behind this beast of a console. My only worry is the massive price tag that they have on it. Like, for a console just to game in 4K for like almost $600, I don't think it's worth it just to game in 4K. And to have like an SSD, like, you might as well just buy an Xbox, take it apart, and add those things in. That's my personal opinion. So I'm gonna give Xbox 3 on this one out of 5.
So that totals up the scores to 8, and we're moving on to the next category. So the next category is, of course, exclusives, and as I said in the previous, I am definitely a big fan of the PlayStation exclusives, and I'm really jealous that Xbox doesn't have those. And compared to some of the Xbox exclusives I can think of at the top of my head, they have Halo, which is like a massive game. It's huge, it's big, it's really popular, but in my opinion...
They made a movie into it.
Yeah. In my opinion, I don't really like Halo that much. I've never really played it in the past. I mean, I've played a little bit of Halo 4. I even own Halo 4, but like, I haven't really played too much of it, so I am not a really huge fan of that. And then Forza Horizon, or Forza Motorsport, as it is called now. I mean, it's a good game, yes, but I'm not crazy big into racing games either. So, in my opinion, I don't like it that much. Okay. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider, as we said in the first one, was a huge exclusive for a while, but then it ended up over on PlayStation, so it's not really an exclusive anymore. But
yeah.
So, with those two exclusives I can remember off the top of my head, I definitely love the PlayStation exclusives so much more. And the Xbox exclusives are, like, mediocre compared to it. Like, they're not like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a PlayStation. Like, that's what the PlayStation exclusives make you feel like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a PlayStation to play these. Xbox, it's like, I could go without these games if I had a PlayStation or whatever. So, I'm definitely going to have to give it, like, a 1.5 for the Xbox exclusives there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Blake. Like, I mean, just before we filmed this little segment, Blake turned to me and asked me, like, what are other Xbox exclusives other than Halo and Forza? Because that's the only really big Xbox exclusives that they have, unless we're totally oblivion to another one. But, yeah, so I'll give it a 1.5, too, on exclusive. I think Microsoft has the power to make exclusives, but they just don't. Like, even most exclusives that they make end up on PC anyways. So it's not really exclusive to that console. So I'm going to give it a 1.5.
So that makes a total of 3, and now we're on to controller. So in my opinion, I like the Xbox controller, and I think the layout of it is a little bit better. So on the PlayStation controller, they have both of the analog sticks right beside each other, but on the Xbox controller, they have the left analog stick raised up a bit, and the right analog stick raised down a bit. And I like the buttons better because the buttons are more 3D and popping out and circular. And the triggers and bumpers are larger, and I'd say easier to hit. And I like how the Xbox One controller fits into your hand better than the PlayStation controller. I mean, the PlayStation controller is good, but I feel like it's a little too small for my hands. But the Xbox One controller, it's nice and large, and it fits into my hands nice. It's like an extension of my hands, so fits good and nice, but if you add all the special features PlayStation has to their controllers, which, as we talked in last episode, the light they have, how you can use the controller and move it itself, and it'll do something in game, how it has a touchpad, just like blows Xbox controllers out of the water, like takes a mediocre controller and makes it like 10 times better. So I'd say Xbox is good, but comparing it to PlayStation, it's just a mediocre average controller. So I'd have to give it a 3 on that. So
yeah, my personal opinion on the Xbox controller, and this is more personality using PlayStation controllers, but I've heard it from other people before. The one build drawback for me, why are you still using AA batteries in your controller? Why? I mean, the PlayStation 3 and 4 both shipped with rechargeable batteries, so why do you still have AA batteries for your controller and you have to buy the rechargeable battery pack separate? My other kind of thing is, why did you have that like special headphone jack port for these special Xbox headphones? Like the PS3 and PS4 both shipped with a headphone jack built into the controller. Personal preference, I just find the controller again is more square. The Xbox and their square things. But yeah, so that's kind of just my personal opinion on the controller. But yeah, I can agree with Blake about the features and how it doesn't really have very many features, and it kind of became, you know, the mainstream controller that you would just use because it's cheap, you know, it doesn't have these special features. It's just like a plain controller. They do have the Elite controller, which I can understand, but again, the price tag on that's $50. I mean, unless you're like a really hardcore gamer, I wouldn't see forking out the $50 to $100 for an Elite controller. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
so-
not such a big fan on the Wii controller
Yeah.
either.
So I'll give it 3 out of that one.
So that totals to 6 on controller, and now we're gonna go to, I guess, the final surprise column.
So guys, we're on to our 5th category, the surprise category. This category is worth no points, but is Xbox and PlayStation together versus...
This category is category 5. It applies for both. Something that really has been in my mind. I found it kind of interesting. And that's, we're going to bring in another console. We're going to bring in the Switch. So how would you compare the Xbox and the PlayStation to the Nintendo Switch? What's your opinion on... It's a really hard console to compare.
Yeah.
We're not really gonna give any points for this, because they're almost 2 completely different consoles.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing about the Switch, and I think it's just something that Nintendo has done, is they've always kind of been a little bit behind on tech, especially with the Wii U. Their console, that was not a console. Not a console.
The Wii U, no.
I don't consider that a console. But,
We don't talk about the Wii U.
The Switch, I do think that they took their mind and they were like, well, the Wii U did not sell well. We're good at making handhelds, so we're going to take the Wii U and the DS and put them together and make a console. I do understand the idea. My big thing is games. It's almost all exclusive Nintendo games if you're buying a Nintendo console. I think they really need to start going after people. They have NBA 24K. Is that what it is?
No, it's 2K and then the year.
2K17 on the Switch now. And they're putting Skyrim on the Switch. But still, I think that they need to go after Call of Duty or... Ubisoft, just go after some big company and try to get all their games for the Switch, because they're almost like a separate category. Like they barely have any games.
But yeah, I like the Switch and all the trailers and everything you've seen and stuff like that. And when it finally came out, I thought it was cool how you can put it in and it transfers to the TV there.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool idea.
And then you take it out. And it's like a little tablet, and you slide on the controllers, and it's like a DS. It's like a DS mixed with like an iPad or the Wii U.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. But the one thing that gets me is the controllers. The Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Cons.
That's like one of the worst names ever. I personally think.
I personally don't like the Joy-Cons. I think they're really awkward controllers, really weird, like dinky little controllers.
I think when you use them by themselves, I find them kind of cheap. They feel kind of plasticky and cheap. They don't feel like, because for another pair of Joy-Cons, it's $100, and they don't feel like they should be worth $100. They feel like they should be worth like $25.
Mm-hmm. And then they have all these extra extensions that, like, oh, if you buy this, you can turn it into an actual controller. Like, they have the controller, and you can slide the Joy-Cons into the controller.
Kind of yeah.
And then they have the little pad thing, and you slide it on the side, and it's like a little square controller type thing.
Yeah.
But once again, like, it's just more money to spend on something just so you can be comfortable while playing this game. Like, that should come with the console.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be an extra $100 dropping on not even a game for fun to play, like something you physically need to play the game.
Yeah. And I mean, I honestly, I understand the point of the Switch. I understand the portability, but I don't think that it fits the everyday gamer. I think it's going to sell well, but it's going to sell to Nintendo's audience and not to the audience that they hoped for.
Mm-hmm.
The everyday audience. I don't think it's going to catch on. That's also a bit of my opinion on PlayStation VR. I mean, it's cool. I kind of would like to have it, but I don't think it's going to become a mainstream thing like they hoped it was. I don't think it's going to catch on. Anyways, so we're just going to tally up the score right now, and then we'll come back to you with the answer. Okay, so we're back. We just tallied up the score. So the final score is PlayStation 34 and
Xbox 23. So PlayStation wins by a landslide.
This is just obviously our opinion and listing out some facts. But the big thing I think that pushes PlayStation ahead of everything is really just the controller and the exclusives. Like, definitely the exclusives.
Yeah.
Because those are also happens to be the two categories that I find Xbox falls short on. So it really helps put PlayStation ahead. So thank you for watching this 2-part series. And we will see you on Monday.
Yep.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah. My name's Wade.
My name's Blake.
From WBTV.
Thank you guys for watching WBTV. If you want to see more gameplay videos, tune in on Wednesday. If you want to see more talk show videos, tune in on Mondays and Fridays. And if you want to see Kevin for Mayor, which is the TV show that we made, tune in to our live stream on October 28th from 11 to 1 p.m. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.